Imagine it's the winter of 2026. You're sitting at your kitchen table, staring at a bank balance that hasn't moved in months. You've sacrificed, you've skipped the vacations, you've driven the beat-up car, and yet the pile of cash feels insignificantly small. Most people look at that small pile and they quit. They think, if it took me a year to save $5,000, it'll take me a lifetime to be rich. They are thinking linearly. But wealth is arithmetic, and the arithmetic of the poor is a trap. I'm George Stelling, and I've spent 2 decades watching how the elite protect their capital while the world burns. Today, I'm opening the vault. There is the invisible line in the sand, a threshold that 90% of people never cross because they sabotage themselves just inches before the breakthrough. That number is $20,000. The financial industry doesn't want you to know this. They need you to believe wealth is a mystery that requires a PhD. It isn't. It's about surviving the flat curve. It's about understanding that once you hit 20K, the very nature of money changes. It stops being something you work for and starts being something that works for you. If you are working a modest job, bringing home an ordinary paycheck, and wondering if financial independence is even possible for someone like you, sit down and pay attention. Because the next 20 minutes will either be the moment you finally understand the game or the moment you guarantee staying broke forever. The vault is open. It's time to see the truth through the prosperity prism. Mainstream media loves to talk about market volatility and economic downturns, but they are hiding the real driver of poverty, the linear trap. Most people are taught to think that if they work twice as hard, they'll get twice as much money. That is a lie designed to keep you on the treadmill. The hidden force at play is the exponential curve. In the beginning, wealth building is brutally, painfully slow. You save a few $100s and it just sits there. You brown bag your lunch, you skip the luxury, and after a year, you have maybe $5,000. The world looks at you and calls you a fool because your pile isn't growing fast enough to see. But what I know, and what the elite know, is that the curve isn't flat. It's just waiting. The hidden force is compound interest, the eighth wonder of the world, and it doesn't start showing its teeth until you have enough seed corn to make the math move. The systemic flaw in our education is that we are taught to measure progress by our salary, but your salary has almost nothing to do with building real wealth. I've seen people earning $200,000 a year who are utterly broke because their outgo exceeds their income. The flaw is the impatience gene. We live in a society that screams at you to spend your seed corn. Your neighbor buys a boat, your coworker gets a new Tesla, and suddenly your $10,000 savings account feels like a failure. But that neighbor is likely financing their life at 18% interest. They are the fuel, not the fire. The old way of thinking, trying to look rich before you are rich, is the systemic error that guarantees you stay a servant to the bank forever. Let's talk about why $20,000 is the magic threshold. It's not just about the money, it's about your identity. When you have $500 in the bank, you are one car repair away from disaster. You live in a state of low-level panic. But once you cross that $20,000 line, your psychology shifts. You stop feeling like a victim of circumstances and start feeling like an owner. You have proof, mathematical proof, that you can defer gratification. This cushion lets you sleep at night, which means you make better decisions. You stop acting out of desperation and start acting out of strategy. Envy is the most stupid sin because it offers no pleasure, only misery. To survive 2026, you must conquer envy and stop measuring your progress against someone else's highlight reel. Here is the prosperity prism shift. We are moving from human labor to capital labor. Up until $20,000, you are doing all the work. Your money is lazy. It's doing almost nothing for you. The pivot happens when you realize that your money can work harder than you ever could. At $20,000, a 10% return is $2,000. That's visible. That's real. By the time you hit $100,000, that same 10% is $10,000. Now your money is earning as much as a part-time job without you lifting a finger. The pivot is choosing to stay in the game long enough for the arithmetic to take over the heavy lifting. To cross the $20,000 threshold in 2026, you need these three pillars. Inversion thinking. Don't ask how to get rich. Ask what guarantees staying poor. Debt, overspending, self-pity, and stop doing those things. Continuous learning. Your earning power is the engine. If you aren't a learning machine, you will be outcompeted by those who are. The $400 rule. If you can find a way to save just $400 a month, you are putting the arithmetic of wealth in motion. It feels small, but on an exponential curve, it is everything. For those who want the top 1%, you must master the circle of competence. Stop gambling on things you don't understand just because someone else is getting rich fast. The wealthy stay wealthy by playing games where they have an edge and ignoring everything else. The advanced play is aggressive patience. While the world is trading, jumping in and out of markets, and paying taxes and fees, the elite sit on their ass. The big money isn't in the buying or the selling, it's in the waiting. Never interrupt compounding unnecessarily. Let's look at a 2026 scenario. Two people start with nothing. One spends every raise on a better lifestyle, chasing the American dream on credit. The other soldiers through the flat part of the curve, reaching that $20,000 mark. When the inevitable trouble comes, a layoff, a medical bill, a market shift, the first person collapses into self-pity and debt. The second person uses their capital to buy assets at a discount. Capital attracts opportunity. Having that first $20,000 makes opportunities visible that were previously invisible. The math doesn't lie. Those with the seed corn survive the winter. Those who ate it don't. Avoid these three wealth killers right now. Leverage. Liquor, ladies, and leverage are the three ways smart men go broke. Borrowing money to invest is a risk of ruin that isn't worth the math. Self-pity. Resentment and self-pity are paralyzing. They make you weak when you need to be active. Impatience. Trying to get rich 4 times instead of once. Building it slowly means nobody can take it away from you. I'm George Stelling, and I want you to understand that getting rich isn't about the cars or the watches. It's about independence. It's about the dignity of not having to send an invoice to anyone else. Crossing $20,000 is your first step toward that freedom. It's the moment you stop being a victim of your bank account and start being the author of your own story. Don't quit during the hard part. Soldier through the flat curve. Secure your legacy. If you're ready to master the arithmetic of wealth, hit that subscribe button. I'll see you at the crossover.